Thank you for being here. And thank you for attending the first ever Global Authors Summit. You are now part of history. Okay, you may now take your seats. Today, I'd like to talk about why you need to write a book. Okay, so there are reasons why you need to write a book. And as I share with you the benefits of writing a book, let me share first how I started as an author. My journey as an author was more of a serendipity. I didn't wake up one day and tell myself, someday I'd like to write a book. So this was what happened. In 2005, I got buried in credit card debts. I was still an employee then. I was working for a bank. And I maxed out the credit limit of my cards. And at that time, I was sick and tired of my job. I wanted to quit my job. But I couldn't because number one, I had debts that I needed to pay and I had no savings. And number two, I asked myself, if I will resign, what will I do? Where will I go? I didn't know the answer. I suffered what you call the quarter life crisis. And so that was the very first time in my life when I started to read books for the purpose of learning. When I studied in elementary, high school, college, I read books because I needed to pass the exams, I needed to ace the exams. But that was the first time that I really wanted to read because I wanted to learn. So I read books on money, I attended seminars on money management, and I sought mentors who could teach me how I could zero out my debts and how I could save and invest. Finally, after 3 years, I was able to zero out my debts. And at that time, I wanted to share financial literacy to as many people as possible. So I started with my friends. Every time we would talk over colloquial conversations, over lunch or dinner or snacks, I would tell them, hey, you know what? You need to manage your money because if you don't manage your money and if you have credit card debts, you are draining money at the rate of 42% annually. Now, even if you're saving at the rate of 3% annually, you are draining money at a much faster rate. Apply the power of compounding. So that's how I would talk with my friends, and I was so passionate. But my friends would shy away from the conversation. I realized that money was such a sensitive issue. You cannot just tell someone, hey, you need to manage your finances. You need to zero out your debts. So there I was. I had a burning message that I wanted to share, but no one wanted to listen to me. And so in one of the seminars that I attended, the idea of writing a book came to mind. So it was a whole day seminar, and the speaker said a lot of things. If you want to make some money and spread a message, you write a book, you record an album, and blah, 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 blah. So imagine it was a whole day seminar, but all I was hearing was, Sha, write a book, write a book, write a book. So imagine me talking to you right now, but you only hear one sentence over and over and over again. That was what I was hearing the entire day. And I felt so uncomfortable because I had so many hesitations. Number one, I was not a writer. I didn't know how to write a book. My favorite subject back in school was math. So that explains why I used numbers when I was talking to my friends. No one knew me from the publishing industry. I didn't know anyone. So I had all these hesitations, and I wanted to discard the idea of writing a book. But then I felt the calling was so strong. I felt God was really telling me, Sha, you need to write the book because this is not for you. This is for the people who will be blessed by your books. So fast forward to today, I heeded the call. And fast forward to today, I became an author. And these are some of the books I've written so far. So far I've written 12 books. And if someone like me who is not a writer can write a book, then definitely you can write a book as well. And I'll tell you later how you can also write a book. In the process of writing my first book, I discovered that there is a formula for writing a book. Okay? I'll share with you later. So these are some of the books I've written so far. And now I'd like to share with you what are the blessings that I got when I wrote a book. But first, when I wrote my first book in 3 years, I realized, wait a minute, even if writing a book is on the creative side, there has to be a formula for it. So remember that my favorite subject is math. Math because once you know the formula, you practice a bit, and then you're off to go. So I developed a formula for writing a book, okay? And I applied it in my next book, in my second book. I just, wrote the formula. There is a formula. And I was able to write my second book in one day, from 6 a.m. to 12 midnight. I also tested it amongst my friends. So some of them you will see later. One of them was Chris Dawanis, who will be a panelist later. So I tested it also among him and amongst my other friends, and they were able to write their books as well. So it's really, really working. Okay? So this is the reason why we have the Global Authors Summit, but I'm getting ahead of my story. Let me share with you the 5 blessings I got when I started writing my first book and when I started writing books. Blessing number 1 was that speaking engagements. I got invited to speak in companies, organizations, etc. I could still remember my first ever speaking engagement. It was in 2011. I wrote and published my first book. Actually, the organizer heard that I wrote a book. I haven't even printed the book yet, but they already invited me to speak in a big conference, and all the other speakers were multimillionaires, billionaires, CEOs, VPs, executives, etc. I was the youngest speaker, and the only reason why I was invited was because I wrote a book. So if you would like to develop your speaking career or to enhance your speaking career, one of the best ways you can do is to write a book. Because once you write a book, your status is being elevated to that of an expert. All right? So that's the first speaking engagement. I also got invited to speak in many other events. And one of my most kilig moments as a speaker was when I got invited to speak at the office of the President of the Philippines in Malacanang. And again, it's all because I wrote a book. The next blessing is that I discovered my purpose and passion. I became so passionate about writing a book that in 2013, after working for 9 years in a bank, I decided to quit my job so I can pursue my passion in writing and speaking full-time. So that's blessing number 2. Blessing number 3 is touching lives. When you write a book, you'll have the ability to touch as many people as possible, to touch their lives. I have received so many emails from people who said they were blessed by the books, but one of the most touching stories I got was when I got an email from a woman who wanted to end her life because her boyfriend deserted her. She had no job. Her finances were such a mess. So this woman said that she wanted to end her life. She wanted to quit on life. But then she read my book, Money and Me, which is not even an inspirational book. It's a money management book. And she said that that book gave her hope. And now she's so excited to live again. So when you write a book, you can also have that chance to inspire people. You don't even meet them. Maybe you haven't even met them, but they met you through your books or through your book. Okay. The next blessing is that I got to meet a lot of people. I got to meet people from different walks of life. One of my most memorable experiences was when I attended the Toastmasters International Convention in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. For the past 90 years, all the conventions were held in America. And that was the first time that the convention was held in Asia. So there was the keynote speaker, Robin Seeger. He was the main speaker. There were 3,000 people from 126 countries. And maybe I was seated somewhere there. Okay, the speaker said something that really caught my attention. He said, he said that the most important role of a speaker was to love the audience. So the moment he said that, I told myself, I want him to become my mentor. And so after his talk, there was a long line of people who wanted to get his autograph and who wanted him to sign his book. So I also lined up and I told him, "Hi Robin, this is Sha from the Philippines. Can you sign your book? So can you sign this book?" So he signed the book that I bought. And after that, I gave him a copy of my book, Money and Me, the one I'm holding. And I said, "Oh, this is just a little token from me." And so we exchanged. So it's like we exchanged books. The only difference was that I paid for his book and he got mine for free. But that's okay. So a few days later, I was already back in the Philippines and I received an email from no less than Robin Seeger. He said, "Sha, I read your book and I really liked it. I wish I've read it when I was much younger." And he said, "I'm coming over to the Philippines on January 24, 2015 at that time. If you have any seminars, I'd be happy to speak in your seminar pro bono." Now, just to give you an idea how big a speaker Robin Seeger is, he travels 200 times a year Okay, and in Philippine peso, he charges a 6-figure amount for a 45-minute talk. Whatever amount you have in mind, multiply that by 2, by 3, by 4. That's the amount that he charges. And so he said, Sha, if you have any seminars, I'm willing to speak pro bono. And so I said, Robin, what's your availability on this particular date? And he gave his availability on a Saturday. I emailed back and I said, yes, Robin, we have a seminar for you. The truth was there was no seminar yet. Okay, so I organized a seminar and I called it the Courage Conference because I needed to have the courage to share the stage with him. All right, so what am I saying? 3,000 people. How can you get noticed by the main speaker? 3,000 people. I remember I bumped into one of the world champions of public speaking, Mark Brown. And on day 1, I bumped into him and said, Mark, this is Sha from the Philippines. I want to give you my book. Okay? And then on day 2, I bumped into him again and I said, Mark, this is Sha from the Philippines. And then you know what he told me? He said, of course I remember you. Everyone else gave me their calling cards. You were the only one who gave me your book. So see, when you have a book, you stand out. And I'd like to encourage you, once you have the book, if there are people that you would like to build relationships with, give your book to that person. Because when you give your book and your book is well written, that's a way for that person to know you, get to know you, to build the trust between the two of you. And as we all know, trust is the currency in any business. So that's me and Robin Seeger. I interviewed him, and of course, we videotaped the interview. And the last blessing is media mileage. If you want to be invited to speak in TV shows, radio shows, etc., one of the best ways to do that is to have a book. Because once you have a book, you will be perceived as an expert. If you're a business owner and you want to promote your business and you would go to a TV station and you would say, can I guest in your show? They would say yes, and then they'll send you the proposal because you need to pay. Or if you want your business to be promoted in media, in print media, in magazines, etc., you need to pay. But once you become an author, you are perceived as a resource speaker, as an expert, and they would gladly have you. So I've been interviewed in many TV stations in the Philippines, hopefully abroad next time, okay? And it's all because I wrote a book, all right? So those are the 5 blessings that I received when I wrote my first book, and I think it's the same for you. And you know, every time I would see my book in National Bookstore, every time someone would ask me to sign my book, I get this high. I really, really feel good. I feel so happy. But then, my mentor, Bo Sanchez, said that success is achieving your dreams. Significance is helping other people achieve their dreams. So a lot of people have come up to me and were asking me, Sha, can you teach me how to write a book? And so I thought of a way of teaching people how to write books. I could still remember I attended the Bo Sanchez Best-Selling Authors Bootcamp. I was one of the speakers together with Tere. And at the end of the 4-day bootcamp, Bo Sanchez asked all the participants to write the title of the book that they were about to write. Me, I didn't write the title of a book. I wrote something else. I wrote the complete online course on book writing and book publishing by Sha Nacino and Bo Sanchez. I showed it to Brother Bo, and he said, go for it, Sha. And I thought, maybe he just said that out of courtesy. So when I came back to Manila after the Best-Selling Authors Bootcamp, I started to write the modules for the book writing challenge, and I realized it is such a hard work, okay? And so I discarded that dream. But then a few weeks later, I received an email from Bo Sanchez. He said, Sha, how's the book writing course that you're putting up? Oh, he remembered. and I had some alibi, Brother Bo, I got busy and so on and so forth. So I forgot all about it. After a few weeks, he emailed again, and he asked me, Sha, how's the book writing course that you're putting up? He was serious. And every time we would bump into each other in person, he would ask me, Sha, how's the book writing course that you're putting up? And so I said, okay, I gave my word. I have to make this come true. And so I sat down and I really wrote the modules. It took me 2 years to write all the modules for the book writing challenge because I wanted to share with you how you can write a book in a very simple way without you getting overwhelmed. So every time I would create the module, I would email it to him. He would he would make some comments, I would tweak, I would email back to him, and so on and so forth. Finally, on January 2015, he said, "Sha, this is very good." And that gave me the go signal to launch the online course, the 90-Day Book Writing Challenge. And my very bold claim is this: I can teach you how you can write a book in 90 days, even if you're not a writer, and even if you're busy in your job or business. Because here's the thing: if you can write a sentence that can be understood by the other person, then you can write a book. Let me prove it to you. A paragraph is just a series of sentences. A chapter is just a series of paragraphs. And a book is just a series of chapters. Very easy, right? Very simple. So that's the math behind it. Okay? So, all right. So on June 2015, because my promise at the 90-Day Book Writing Challenge is that there is going to be a book launch. You can write your book in 90 days, and after that, there is a book launch. So we had the first ever book launch in June 2015. So that's the first one. A year later, we had another book launch, July 2016. Okay? A year later, in 2017, we had 2 book launches because we have so many authors who were able to produce their books. July 2017, and then another, September 2017. This year, 2018, there are a lot of authors again who were able to publish their books, so we decided to level up. So the title of our event then was How to Write a Book plus Book Launch, and now we've leveled up to the Global Authors Summit. And we'd like to welcome the first batch of graduates of the 90-Day Book Writing Challenge who will launch their books at the first ever Global Authors Summit. Can I invite the 22 authors to please stand up and wave at the audience? So you will get to know them later. And this is the reason why we are here today. We are here to celebrate the authors, and we are here as well to celebrate your future success. Again, can I see a raise of hands? Who among you would like to write your own books? All right. So I have something for you at the end of this event. Thank you very much. God bless everyone.